right, you Cosmo players that were upset that your deck got destroyed by the ban list and it's not competitive anymore. Well, it is still a decent deck, but when you mix it in with the new support that's coming out next year in 2017, the deck is going to be a lot better because you have support from the Draco fighters and the True Kings, and the deck's looking a lot better simply because you're able to destroy the cards, and then you could proc their effects. So on the board we have True King VFD, the Beast over here, as opponent activates hand destruction, but he's going to be able to proc those effects. This card over here, once per turn you detach a material from this card and declare an attribute. For the rest of the turn, face-up monsters on the field become the declared attribute monster opponent controls, but that attribute can't activate their effects or can't attack. But over here we also have this card, Dragonic Diagram, over here. You can see he's making a really good field out on the board. And it has that effect where once per turn you can destroy a card in your hand or field, and if you do, you get to search for a True Draco or True King from your deck to your hand. Now I'll give you guys a deck profile, but I kind of want to go over it now that you guys have seen like what it can do. I'm going to kind of break it down for you guys because it is a really fast replay. This deck is definitely going to be fast. I remember back when Cosmos first came out, the deck was still really fast and consistent. But now with the reduction of the amount of dank destroyers we have access to, obviously the deck has took a turn for the worse as far as being that tier 1 deck that it used to be. But anyways, this card is still really strong. He's able to declare the attribute and then negate whatever he wants to negate. Pretty good stuff indeed. And then they also can't attack. You can see over here he's going to activate that effect. His opponent changed hand destruction, so he has limited options for the Dragonic Diagram. But he's still going to be able to destroy a Cosmo card. So when you destroy the Cosmo cards, as long as they're able to go to the graveyard, they're able to banish it and then special summon one level 6 or lower Cosmo monster from your deck. So at that point, you just need a Cosmo in your deck, so you're able to destroy that. You can actually activate Forerunner's effect, and he's going to go ahead and chain DD Crow, and he's going to hit the other one over there. But he's able to still summon a Slip Rider, and then Slip Rider has that effect, getting rid of the Union Hanger. He's going to go ahead and be able to place that on board, and then he's going to go ahead and then go into Strawman. Strawman has that effect where he can go and special summon one of the banished ones that, obviously was just banished. He can now go for Forerunner, and he's going to go ahead and activate that effect where if this card is in your hand, you can destroy up to another 2 monsters in your hand, and if you destroy 2 of them that are water, you get to banish up to 2 spawn trap cards from your opponent's field and or graveyard, so that's a bonus little effect. He gets Starlight Dynamo's effects to draw an extra card. Then he's going to go ahead and go for Enterprise Near, and this card is a pretty good card. It gets to make your opponent go -1, and his opponent is definitely in some trouble. And it also has access to a lot of different things that we didn't even get to see in this duel. This is the only replay that I have, but I really think that it's a good replay and a showcase of what Cosmos can potentially do with the new True King support coming out in 2017. So it might be good to maybe get some Cosmos now before, maybe make new Cosmos. But looking at it right now, it's not too bad. But I'll go ahead and kind of talk about some of the other things we didn't even get to see in the duel, because you can have access to that Metatron over there, the True Draco Mech Soldier, and when this card dies, if it ever does, because pretty much once it comes out, it becomes more likely immune to spells and monster effects. You don't play traps in here, although you could opt to play them, but anyways, it has that effect where when it is destroyed by opponent's card by battle bar effect, you get to special summon a 1 Earth, Water, Fire, or Wind Fusion Synchro or XYZ monster from your extract, and you could go for 2 cards that completely shut down your opponent. You have the Last Warrior from Another Planet, so as long as he's on the field, no one can summon monsters. The player can normal summon, flip summon, or special summon any monster. That means they just have to set cards, which, there's not really too many people playing flip effects this day and age anyways. And then next up, you have Natria Exterio over here, where while this card is face up on the field, you can negate the activation of a spell, trap, and destroy it by removing play 1 card from your graveyard and then sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard. So you get some synergy maybe by sending things to the graveyard. And in addition to that, maybe you get lucky, and if you want to play some other cards like Breakthrough Skill, you have access to bonus effects with Natria Exterio. But these are 2 really strong cards, and obviously Crystal Ring Synchro Dragon is like one of the most boss monsters as far as the synchros go. But anyways, let's go into the deck profile and we'll talk a little bit about it. So again, you have the Metatron. Again, these are the targets for him. I mean, you also have these targets, but these are the more obscure ones that you're not going to be making in the deck, because you can have access to a lot of the other things in the extra deck. But it's very toolbox-ish options when this card dies, if, like I said, if it ever dies, because it'll probably be immune to monsters and spells in this deck. But next up we have the card that's already out, the True King Azneyesreplays over here. So I think I went over them a few days ago, but briefly I want to give you guys a too long didn't read version of it. So all of these True Kings, most of them as far as I know as of now, to special summon them, you get to you need to destroy 2 other monsters in your hand and or face up on your field, and then including a fire monster, and if you do, you get to special summon it. But if both of them happen to be fire, then you get some type of bonus effect, or if both of them are water, you get some type of bonus effect. This one lets you banish up to 2 spell and trap cards from your opponent's field or graveyard, and then this one has the effect where you get to banish 1 monster from your opponent's field or graveyard. So that's its bonus effect if both of them are fire. It's not that hard to pull it up, but sometimes it takes a little bit to set up because you're going to have to search off the cards with Dragonic Diagram. But yeah, you got 3 copies of the True King Azneyesreplays, and then we have 2 copies of a card that's not coming out since 2017. This is Mare Mune, the True Draco Phoenix. So this card's in your hand, you can destroy 2 other monsters in your hand and a field. So one of them has to be including a wind monster. So this effect is when you get rid of 2 of the monsters being wind, you get to banish 4 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. That's its bonus little effect. And then this one over here is the Earth one. So the Earth has, again, the same summoning condition, but if you destroy 2 Earth monsters, you can look at your opponent's extra deck and banish up to 3 monsters with different names. That's a really, really huge effect. You can get rid of like a Beatrice, a Dante, maybe something else. You can shut down a lot of decks with this. I think this card just destroys synchros for the most part. And then next up we have 3 copies of the Water one. So the Water one is the one that banishes up to 2 spell and trap cards that your opponent has on their field or in their graveyard. And now for the Cosmos, we got 1 Dark Destroyer. It's the best card, but it's at 1 now. And then next up we have 2 copies of Forerunner, one of the other great Cosmos. Then we have 2 copies of Landwalkers, one of the newer Cosmos. So again, that synergy with the deck pretty good. So if a Cosmo card you control be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can destroy 1 other Cosmo card you control instead, which is a really good effect. And if this card is destroyed by and sent to the graveyard, you can summon another Cosmo. It just has to be level 5 or lower. So how the Cosmos work, for those of you that maybe didn't play Cosmos back in the day when they were really, really popular and really competitive, basically, whenever a Cosmo dies, you can just summon 1 that's a lower level. So basically, the level 7 summons a 6 or lower, the level 6 summons a 5 or lower, and then the 5 summons a 4 or lower. But next up we have Cosmo Dog Fighter over here. So this one gets to special summon a token, and then if this card is destroyed in battle and sent to the graveyard, you get to banish it and then special summon a 5 or lower. So you actually have 2 level 6s. And then we have 1 card that is also a new card that's not coming out until 2017. The Majesty Maiden, the True Draco Mage. So you tribute it, a continuous spell and trap card to tribute summon, but not set this card, although I don't know why you said it. But anyways, once per turn, while your opponent activates a card or effect while you control this tribute summoned card, you get to add a True King or True Draco monster. So the idea is to add whatever color that you need, whether it's the, well, color, element, whatever you want to call it, fire, wind, water, whatever you need to set up for your combo piece. So that's what she does. And then we have 3 copies of Slip Route, probably one of the better Cosmo cards. And then we have 1 of the Dark Lady to negate other effects. And then you have 2 copies of Straw Man and 2 copies of Tin Can. Unfortunately, we only have 1 E-Telly. I remember back in the day, it was like always first turn E-Telly into the Tin Can. That was like the old school play. But it has been limited since then. Then we have Allure of Darkness, and then we have 3 copies of Terraforming. Now, there are other targets besides Cosmo Town, which we'll get into in a second. But, yeah, the 1 Emergency Teleport, like I mentioned before. And then this card is interesting, because it actually lets you do a lot of dirty things with this deck. So, Pressured Cards from Beyond. I covered this card a long time ago, where you could pull off, like, some Monarch FTK using Precious Cards. You basically get to draw an Exodia of them. But when you successfully tribute summon or set a monster that requires 2 or more tributes, you get to draw 2 cards from your deck. That's a pretty good effect. Plus, it could help out, perhaps, to get out that Metatron. And then we have 1 copy of the True Draco Succession. So during your main phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of different True Draco or True King card types, so monster, spell, or trap, sent to the graveyard this turn. During your main phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, tribute summon, but not set, one True Draco or True King monster. And this card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard. You can target one spell and trap card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, destroy it, and then you can only use each effect about once per turn. And then Cosmo Town, you guys should be probably familiar with it, but it lets you cycle your cards, so you target one of your banished Cosmo monsters, you get to bounce it back to your hand, and then you lose life points equal to its level times 100, and then once per turn you can reveal any number of Cosmo monsters in your hand, and then shuffle them into the deck. Then you can draw cards equal to the same amount. And then if it is destroyed by a card effect, you get to add one Cosmo card from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect. And then we have the Dragonic Diagram, which is another card that can actually help you set up for your effects. But this is why it works so well when you combine it with Cosmos, because now you're able to destroy the Cosmos in the hand. So all the True Draco and True King monsters, they gain a bonus of 300 attack and defense. The first time each tribute summoned or True King monster would be destroyed in battle, each turn is not destroyed. And then once per turn, you can destroy one other card in your hand or field, and if you do, you can add a True Draco or True King card from your deck to your hand. So that, again, helps you search out for the combo pieces to pull off the summon of one of these. And that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we went over these briefly. There's also True King VFD, which you guys saw during the replay. So you're able to detach a material, then basically negate everything, and then they can't attack. So if they're playing a very specific deck, it automatically has a huge advantage on those. And then if you would destroy monsters with the effect of a True King or True King monsters in your hand, you can also destroy monsters your opponent controls. That's a pretty good effect. You're like, I'm going to destroy my opponent's monster and then, search out my own cards. That's crazy. And then we have Enterprise, and you're probably one of the best rank 9s that we have in the game that's generic. And then there's Gimmick Puppet, because you have access to, again, anything. You can summon whatever you want, ignoring its summoning conditions, essentially. And then we have the Gaia Dragon, we have Bouncer, we have Cyber Dragon Infinity, we have Wind Up Zen Mayo, we got Consider Pleiades, we got Cyber Dragon Nova, and Sky Silvery Centauria. So you have a lot of options for your extra deck, but a really cool and unique deck. So I appreciate you for sending in this awesome deck idea. Props to you, man, because I didn't even think about mixing Cosmos. I was thinking about Fire Kings with these guys over here with the True Kings. But nonetheless, you made a pretty awesome deck. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed something new. And if you have Cosmos, I guess, yeah, maybe you can rejoice in 2017. Maybe they'll be playable unless they get hit by the ban list again, which I don't think they will. So it may be good to pick up some Cosmos now, because if they make some more other destruction support cards, Cosmos can be looking pretty good in 2017 as a kind of a fun deck. I don't know if it's very, very high tier, but we never know with Yu-Gi-Oh! We got Spellbook of Judgment in TCG, and that card completely changed the game. Maybe we'll get a Cosmo of Judgment. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the vid. If you did, make sure you give that like button a titty slap. Oh, where's my anime waifu mouse pad? I totally had it on the side over there. But give that like button a titty slap. And I am signing out.